Have you ever had a lifetime where things just kept going wrong? Where disappointment was around every corner? Well, I'm having a life like that. When I was 3 years old and my parents' only child, I was displaced by my younger sister, who became the queen of the household, or at least the little princess. I fell to number 2 and I stayed there. That was my first crisis. Out of that crisis, I learned some humility. Now, in the 2nd grade, I had a serious crisis. My partner on the playground died of a hole in her heart. On Friday, she was swinging on the jungle gym, and on Monday, she was gone. That was my 2nd crisis. Out of that crisis, I learned about reincarnation, that we have all almost unlimited chances to get it right. At the age of 12, I became depressed. High school was a dark slog through sadness, my 3rd crisis. I suffered more than I ever thought possible. From my depression, I learned empathy, and rather amazingly, I gained a sense of humor. Fast forward to age 23, when I taught the 7th grade, and I hated it. I had studied for 5 years to be a teacher, and when I got my own classroom, it was terrible. I failed. Crisis number 4. That crisis sent me to the seminary and the priesthood, where I learned kindness and gained an enormous amount of self-confidence. It's amazing what those vestments do for you. Crisis number 5, when I came to realize that I didn't believe much of what the Catholic Church was teaching, mostly about Jesus and the afterlife. So I left the priesthood. And in marriage, my crisis ended. I learned about love. I learned especially how to receive love rather than strictly admiration. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Well, we're in a time of crisis, both in the wider world and in our personal lives. Look at us. We look like a bunch of surgeons on vacation. And we are facing death on a daily basis. What if I told you that this is what we were born for? In Greek, the word crisis also means to make a choice. What if we're here on earth in crisis to make a choice between fear and love? Let's take the pandemic and the fear of death. We all have a fear of death of the body. Our little sensory tent we pitched on planet Earth, that little tent on which we have placed our life and our identity, will one day collapse. The body that says, I'm alive, and announces who I am, that little tent will blow away. That will be one of the happiest days of our lives. Unless you initiate the process, and then they send you right back. But on your death day, even with suicide, you experience the enormous embrace of light and love and joy. An experience we've been looking for in the earth on our own terms, when we seek to fall in love, be a success, eat pizza, get drunk and high, pray and meditate. All our striving for ecstasy we will have with our death. But of course we have more to do. It's not our time yet. Okay, so you want to stay, wear a mask, don't go to rallies, stay away from big parties. Can't hear me? Can you hear me better? Okay, stay away from big parties. And spend a little more time in Crisis Central. Choose love when it comes to black people. And if you're black, choose love if it comes to white people. Of whatever color you are, choose love. We are daily faced with the crisis of loving one another. Most of the time when I'm asked to love another person, I'm busy. I'm reading, I'm writing, I'm napping, I love to sleep, and I get a call for help. Now, I'm a psychotherapist, and people call in distress. I could say, can't your depression wait? Give that anxiety a rest. I know that your husband beat you up, but can't it wait till tomorrow? Could you see Jesus doing that? You lepers, it's been a long day. I'll get back to you. In the seminary, they used to say that our interruptions were our ministry. So I wake up and I get busy. Crisis resolved with love. And what did I learn? Quiet joy is what I learn when I reach out to somebody in need. We are always faced with a crisis of self-worth. Every one of us, every day, almost every moment, our worth is in question. Am I really okay? We often find our self-worth by finding what's wrong with another person. We make ourselves a superior island in a sea of losers. When I first heard confessions, I was expecting to hear exotic sins, bad things that I would never do, murder, rape, extortion, lots of adultery, grand larceny, basically life on TV. But what I heard was my own behavior, impatience, white lies, petty lusts. And I got into the habit of saying, me too, I know what you mean. When I expressed solidarity with the so-called sinner, we both relaxed. I couldn't forgive if I held myself apart from the person. Like attracts like. Judgment is basically an exercise in loneliness. Differences in worth seem to alienate us. So where does my worth come from if not from your disasters? My true worth comes when I celebrate the soul that you are. Honest, tender, kind, good-intentioned, rather than fixate on your frightened behavior. Politically today, we are saying to one another, we're more different than we are alike. Spiritually, I would say, we're all afraid, and especially afraid to say how much we resemble one another. On the surface, people seem very different from one another. Yet if we go deep into the person, we find a friend who shares the wisdom of our souls. Deep in our souls, we all crave acceptance. Superficial acceptance is the sharing of opinions. Deep acceptance is the sharing of convictions. Political opinion has taken on the gravity of convictions, so we see mainly differences. People are identifying as Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative. But I would remind you of the power of the I am. If I say I am a Democrat, I'm identifying with Democrat. That's wrong. I'm registered as a Democrat. I am the the child of God. Spiritually, we want oneness around the conviction of loving one another. To do that, we must see what we have in common rather than who we are apart from one another. This is a crisis in America. How can we love one another? As we say in marriage counseling, do you want to be right or do you want to love? America is the land of opportunity. In the deepest sense, it is the opportunity to be accepted for the quality of your character rather than for the color of your skin or the color of your politics. This crisis challenges us to choose love over fear and unity over dissension. If we rise to the challenge, we will not only be fellow citizens, we will be deep friends. Your soul and my soul are deep friends. We've been through many lifetimes. We've been on different sides in battles, both domestic and military. We've called each other enemy, fool, idiot, and worse. Yet looking back, even in this life, the tincture of time heals our wounds and even brings us laughter as we look back on what happened. I remember my first kiss. I kissed the girl at the door after our date, and she said it was a bad kiss. I was so shaken up that I slipped on the ice and fell down right at her feet. Such was the beginning of a very uneven love life. So let the vagaries of life be funny, free others from your judgments, and free yourself from embarrassment. Peace on earth begins with gentle laughter in your heart. Let's go to meditation. At first, don't close your eyes. Look up at the sky. See its endless blue. It's October. The sky's often that blue. Hear the birds in the woods. Feel the air on your face, the breeze on your face. And now go inside. Go deeply inside. And feel yourself as a completely human being. Yes, a person who makes mistakes, who blunders, who falls down, who doesn't always have the right thing to say. See yourself as vulnerable, as open. See yourself as the soul that has come to choose love over fear and unity over dissension. Know that you have help all of the time. So now, in the silence of your heart and the relative silence of nature, be still and know that you are loved. Now come back. Come back to this place, to the wind blowing on your face, to the sun shining on your face. And know that you are not alone. That wherever you go, wherever you are accompanied by grace itself, by the Savior who walks with you, who smiles at you, and leads you into paths of righteousness for His name's sake.